That'll do me. Okay, good afternoon everyone and welcome. I'm Councillor Steve Pett, I'm the leader of the City Council. I will be chairing this meeting. The housekeeping before we get going: if the continuous fire alarm sounds, please evacuate the room and public gallery by the stairwells. Do not attempt to use the lifts. Please assemble by Queen Victoria's statue in Guildhall Square. In order to comply with the Guildhall Trust Fire Marshal regulations, anyone who signed in at the Guildhall reception desk should sign out when leaving the building at the end of today's meeting. Everyone speaking via a microphone will be recorded and broadcast on the website, including those making deputations. Members of the press and public are also permitted to record at the meeting, on the understanding it neither disrupts the meeting nor records those stating explicitly they do not wish to be recorded. Please can everyone use the microphones and remember to switch them off when they have finished. We have all read the report, so officers, please just highlight any developments that have occurred since publication. We'll begin by making introductions around the table, starting to my left.
Peter Bell, City Solicitor, thank you.
Natalie Brommer-Pearl, Chief Executive.
Anna Martin, Democratic Services, and there's spare copies if anyone needs one.
Kimberly Barrett, Cabinet Member for Climate Change and Greening the City.
Susie Horton, Cabinet Member for Children, Families and Education.
Darren Sanders, Cabinet Member for Housing and Tackling Homelessness.
Ian Maguire, Assistant Director for Planning and Economic Growth.
Matthew Williamson, Cabinet Member for Community Wellbeing, Health and Care.
Peter Candlish, Cabinet Member for Transport.
Chris Atwell, Cabinet Member for Central Services.
Hugh Mason, Councillor, Cabinet Member for Planning Policy and City Development.
Dave Ashmore, I help oversee environmental services.
I'm Richard Webb, Deputy Director of Finance.
Okay, and we're joined by the news this afternoon. Welcome, Toby. Okay, any apologies? I think we've got apologies for possible lateness or non-attendance from Councillor Hunt. Members, any declarations of interest? No. Okay. Number 3 is the record of the previous meeting held on the 1st of October. Has anybody got any questions or changes or suggestions about the minutes, or are we happy that they're a true record? Happy? Okay, in which case I'll propose. Can I have a seconder? Darren, thank you. All in favour? Yes. Okay, thank you. Item 4 would be a exclusion of the press and public. I'm not going to read the formal notice and then say that we're not going to do it, because that would be frankly ridiculous. So I'm just going to suggest that we don't need to exclude the press and public on the basis that we do not refer to anything in the exempt appendices. Is that okay? Yeah, okay. In which case we'll now go over to Anne Keynes to introduce item 5, which is the disposal of 32, 34, 42, 56, 58 to 60 Middle Street, Portsmouth.
Thank you. In November 2022, the leader gave authority or approval for officers to go ahead and negotiate with the prospective purchasers for this property, subject to final approval being brought back to members for consideration. And we've now negotiated and reached an agreement as per the heads of terms, which are in the exec document, and would like your approval to proceed.
Thank you, Anne. Members, any comments or questions? No? Okay, on the basis that I believe the proposal we have in front of us provides best value for public money, and noting the contents of the exempt appendices that demonstrate such, are we happy? We are. In that case, it's approved. Thank you very much, Anne. Item 6 is the inter-authority agreement for the Local Nutrient Mitigation Fund. We do love in local government to come up with long titles for things, don't we? Over to you, Ian Maguire.
Thank you. This is the latest step in solutions regarding eutrophication, the nitrates issue in the Solent waters. This is government funding that's come into Fareham on behalf of South Hampshire. And in order to utilise it appropriately, details are in the report on how that is being utilised. An inter-authority agreement is needed. The draft inter-authority agreement is appended to the papers. An authority to duly execute it and seal it is sought, and indeed future authority to enter into individual projects and programmes to utilise that mitigation is also sought. So they are the 2 recommendations. Happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Ian. Members, any questions? Comment from Hugh.
I think two things are important here. One is that this doesn't in any way affect the interim arrangements which we made in June 2022 and have proved remarkably effective. And the other thing is because we are part of this consortium, it will give us greater flexibility in the future. So I think it is certainly something which could be commended.
Thank you, Councillor Mason. Councillor Winnington.
Thank you, Leader, and thank you, Ian, for the report. Just speaking as I am the representative of the City Council on the Southern Inshore Fisheries and Conservation Authority. So just to say that this kind of thing, having this plan for South Hampshire is really important to make sure that we are protecting our excuse me, internationally renowned areas of conservation within our waterways. And though this goes on in a lot of parts of the country, and we know some other places have been less successful than we have in tackling coming up with mitigating strategies, this has been very successful in South Hampshire. And indeed, by making sure we are net neutral on we are neutral on our nutrients, will mean that our areas of special scientific interest, Ramsar sites, etc., will continue to be very very much preserved and supported by the continuance of this strategy.
Thank you, Matt. Anyone else? Councillor Hunt's joined us. Any declarations, Lee?
Apologies for my later on. Just come from the dog kennels. I'd lovely visit the dog kennels.
Any declarations of interest?
No.
Okay, thank you. Members, any other questions? No. In that case, the recommendation for us is that we delegate authority to Ian Maguire as Assistant Director of Planning and Economic Growth to authorise the sealing of the proposed inter-authority agreement, including any minor amendments. And secondly, that authority is delegated to the Assistant Director of Planning and Economic Growth to agree the Council as a benefiting authority for projects delivered through the inter-authority agreement in consultation with the Council's Section 151 Officer and Portfolio Holder for Planning Policy and City Development, Councillor Hugh Mason. Members, are we happy with that? Okay, thank you very much, in which case that is approved, and that concludes today's meeting. Thank you.